meeting to order. Roll call on the left.
Frank Bell. John Haskell.
Carla Stardens.
June Jackson.
Ryan Bray.
Katie O'Neill.
All right. So there is a quorum and all full members are present, so there are no alternates to appoint. Going into the public hearings, item A, 23-10TA of the Planning and Zoning Commission, removal of the 12-month moratorium from application 23-3ZC of the Town of Plainfield Planning and Zoning Commission for a moratorium on cannabis covering all uses as stated in Public Act number 21-1, Senate Bill number 1201, an act concerning responsible and equitable regulation of adult use cannabis. So this was continued from the last meeting, and this moratorium removal is because we adopted cannabis regulations, so the moratorium can now be removed. Is there any other comment from staff?
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay. So I open the floor to anyone in the public who has a comment or question on the removal of the cannabis moratorium. Any comments from the public? Any questions from board members? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion to close the public hearing.
Motion by June to close the public hearing. Second by John. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Public hearing is closed. Moving on to item B, 23-11TA, temporary moratorium of section 12.32 earth excavation and removal applications, except for applications to renew existing legal earth excavation that was previously approved by special permit. Did you have a summary for this one, Ryan?
So essentially, the commission was looking to do a moratorium so that we have time to go through the regulations, possibly make modifications. And so if anybody would like to speak on it, now is the time.
So the floor is open if you want to step up to the microphone with a comment or question on this application. So a moratorium is just a temporary hold so we can review regulations. Any comments or questions? Yeah, come on up.
If you want to statement or whether so, I endorse that. I would like to see that happen, a moratorium on that, so that we can really make those regulations stronger.
Okay, very good. Thank you for your comment. Any other comments or questions? Any comments or questions from board members? Okay, hearing and seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion to close the public hearing.
Motion by June. Second by John. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Public hearing is closed. Moving on to item C, 23-19SP of Ritchie Brothers Auctioneers Incorporated, care of John Casey, requesting a special permit for an auction facility at 0 Norwich Road, Rood Road, Assessors Map 5, Block 3, Lot 1, Industrial 1 Zoning District. And we have speaking for the applicant.
Good evening, Madam Chair. John Casey for the applicant. Tonight, we're going to introduce a proposal to create an auction facility at the property, which has been recently rezoned to I-1, the Industrial 1 District. It is an application for a special permit under, again, new regulations recently passed this August. We're proceeding under sections 9.41 and section 12 of your special permit regulations. With me, the development team here, this is property owned by the Rood family, as you know. With me are Mark Leone, the manager of operations for Ritchie Brothers here at their Franklin facility, which will move here if this is approved, and Kyle Hallberg from CLA Engineers, the project engineer. I think we've already submitted our mail receipts and return receipts to the record. So our intention tonight is to present the proposal, go through the site plan on a general level, but we did receive a number of comments from Ryan, and we couldn't address all those in time for tonight's hearing. So what we would ask is that we'll present the plan, allow you to ask us any questions, and then if there's questions or concerns you have, we will incorporate those into a revised set of plans to submit and we would ask that you continue the hearing until January, so we can get all that in the record and then make a final presentation in January. Does that sound good?
Does the board want him to continue with the presentation?
Okay with it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'd like to do it.
This
so-
is a public hearing, so anyone in the public can step up to the microphone and make a comment. So I would ask that you bring your board over yonder so that it can be viewed a little more easily by people of the public, since this is a public hearing, so anything presented should be available to them. If you're not able to see, you are welcome to move to a different part of the room so that you can get a better view. All right, proceed.
Thank you. Again, this is a special use proposal. The new regulations were passed in August. And this will be what's called an auction facility, which is a commercial establishment for the buying and or selling of goods and or services through competitive bidding process. They can be live or online, and the goods and services for sale may include, but are not limited to, vehicles, trucks, watercraft, equipment. And then the uses at the facility can also include any accessory use related to conducting the auction business, including outdoor storage of goods to be auctioned. So that was the definition that was passed in August. There's a number of requirements that were included at the same time about parking facilities, and a new subsection in section 12 regarding auction facilities specifically, that said an auction facility shall be permitted by special permit in the I-1 industrial zone, subject to the applicable bulk requirements of the zone, and provided that the proposed use conforms to the pertinent sections of section 1211. So that's what we intend to present to you, and hope you'll agree. So with that, I will turn it over to Kyle to run through the site plan, and as I said, give you a general review of it. Ryan, as I said, had a number of comments, mostly technical, but we don't want to sort of do this twice. But we do think it's worthwhile to present it now. The public's here. We open the hearing.
Yep, we already said
Yeah,
proceed,
okay.
so
All right.
thank you.
All right. So that was our.
Come on up.
Like I'm right on top of you guys. I'm Kyle Hauber from CLA Engineers. Attorney Casey said I'm the project engineer for this proposal. The subject property is 0 Route Road. It's located at the intersection of Route Road and Route 12. It is about 103 acres that was recently rezoned to the industrial zone. The property is currently part of an ongoing earth gravel excavation project that is currently in about phase 1 and 2 of that project. This proposal is for a heavy equipment auction facility. This facility will use about 25 acres of the property. There are wetlands on site. They run along the railroad tracks to the bottom of that plan, as well as to the east of the property on the right side of that plan before you. There is no proposed work in the wetlands. There's no proposed work in the regulated area. All work is beyond any of the wetland jurisdiction. There's also 100-year floodplain on the property that's associated with the brook that runs along the railroad tracks along the bottom of that property. Again, there's no proposed work within the 100-year floodplain. Everything is well beyond those limits. The proposed facility includes 4 structures. It also includes 32 paved parking spaces and 78 parking spaces and an equipment display area that will be on an asphalt milling surface. Most of the development is located within the excavation area that's currently ongoing. You'll note just to the east, which is basically that purplish shaded area on the plan, that's the limits of the excavation that's ongoing. So most of the facility and display area resides within that area. You'll notice just to the east, towards the right of the plan, there's a shop building and a vehicle washdown pad that are just outside of the perimeter of that excavation area. Yep, yeah, right there. Yep. The main building on the site is the administration building. That's towards the top, right by Route 12. That's located almost directly across from the Western Express facility, right down Route 12. That building's about 8,100 square feet. It'll house offices for the facility, conference room, restrooms, and also an information center for the facility. The shop building, again located just to the south of that, is about 2,700 square feet. It houses additional offices and a mechanics shop. The washdown pad is about 7,500 square feet. It's for vehicle cleaning. It's a self-contained facility, so the water used in there is filtered and recycled and reused to wash the equipment. There's also a check-in building located just to the west of the washdown and shop building. That's when the equipment is delivered to the site. It's brought in and checked in at that building. These facilities will be served by on-site well and septic systems. You'll note the main driveway entrance to the facility is located on Route 12. It's located directly across from Topper Road. It's squared up with that entrance. Secondary entrance that's currently being used for the excavation on Route Road. That will be gated and will be used for emergency purposes only for this facility. There are 32 paved parking spaces, which meets the zoning requirements. They're located primarily around the administration building, and there's several, I believe there's 5 at the shop building for employees that work in the shop area. There are also 78 parking spaces that will be on asphalt millings. Those will surround basically to the west of the administration building in case of live auctions or at the facility. The vehicle display area, which again pretty much is the largest kind of purplish shaded area on the site, will be asphalt millings and will be used for display of the vehicles that will be up for auction. The excavation permit that is ongoing at the facility, we recently modified earlier in the fall to allow the surface treatment for the bottom of that excavation to be asphalt millings. That was in preparation for this facility that is coming, that we're proposing here today. Stormwater from the facility will all sheet flow to the green settling basin that is just towards the south of the development. That is the same settling basin that was part of the excavation permit. In that last modification that we came back with earlier in the fall, that settling basin was enlarged to account for, again, for this facility and account for the milling surfaces on the property. All stormwater will be directed to that basin, it's retained on site, and there's no discharge from that basin. As Attorney Casey mentioned, we did receive comments from staff. We're in the process of addressing those comments. We have also submitted the plans to DOT for the driveway entrance review, as well as to NDDH, the health department, for review of the septic and wells. Those reviews are ongoing, and we will address comments from them as they come up. With that, I'll pass it back to Attorney Casey.
Thank you, Kyle. I'd just ask Mark Leone to come up. He's the operations manager. I think as a new use in town, close for town, it'd be good to hear how this business actually operates. And we have submitted an operations agreement, operations narrative for your consideration, but good to hear from the man himself. So here's Mark Leone.
Hi. I've currently been in the position of running the auction business in Franklin for over 30 years. We run 5 sales a year right now. We were running 4, excuse me, but we went up to 5. Since COVID, we've gone all online unless there's a customer that needs a live auction. We're doing regional auctions right now. The auction that we have tomorrow, like as in the future, is hooked with Northeast Maryland and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So we're selling all that equipment in one auction, but it's online. We have live auctioneers. They're on the computer that you can hear them bid on, and most of it is all bid online through the computers or your cell phones. unless there's any questions.
Yes. So with the online bidding, are all of the machines that are up for auction maintained at the location, or are they scattered throughout the Northeast?
They're not scattered throughout the Northeast, but we have our facility, which is in Franklin right at the moment. Then we have one in Northeast Maryland, and then we have one in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and that's where they are.
So when you have an auction, are there people at each of the locations in addition to the online?
There is no live auction at any part of those.
Okay, so,
It's all online. People can come to the auction and preview,
okay.
so people will come in and look at stuff started and all that
Okay.
kind of stuff.
So the expectation of like amount of people coming to an auction, they don't come, it is online, so they would preview.
If I have 5 people during the day on an auction day, that would be amazing.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. This is a public hearing. If there's a question from anybody in the audience, come on up to the microphone. Any questions from board members? Oh, come on up.
Good evening, Kevin Cunningham, 405 Moosa Pond Road. I have a couple of questions. I'm reading through your notes. Your recommendation is for asphalt millings, correct? Throughout the other parking areas. I do have 2 questions at my note here. The status of the DOT review. Do we have that yet?
No, we are waiting on that. They have submitted to DOT, but have not received comment yet.
Do you know how long they usually take to get that back?
It varies.
So you could do a continuation,
So the expectation of tonight is that these are unresolved comments.
All right.
So they wanted to do a presentation to get comments and feedback from the board, and that's why we proceeded with the public hearing. My expectation is we will make that motion to continue.
Okay.
Yep.
And the other part about that, though, is the Northeast District Department of Health. Has that been submitted yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
The
you.
problem I'm having with Northeast District Department of Health is obviously the turnaround time, in 4 to 6 months. That's why I was asking about the continuation, which could go even further. Okay, that's it.
All right, thank you. Any other comments?
Art Gagnon, Central Village. I'm looking at the plan, the map. The part to the north, that I don't know when it was proposed that it could still be used as farmland. So I'm wondering if that's still the case, and if so, how would they access it? Because it looks like they're chopping off access to that farmland. And also, I have concern because I saw the traffic study. The average speed there is like 60 miles an hour. So is the intersection here where they come in, the main entrance, going to be wide enough for them to get tractor trailers or whatever they're pulling in there off the road quickly or whatever? And so,
On the map, could you just clarify where the entrances are to the proposed use as well as the current use?
The current excavation entrance is right here off of Rood Road. The proposed entrance is right here, directly across from Topper Road.
So on the right side of the plan, is that being actively used for farmland or any other purpose at this time?
Right now, it's currently just undeveloped grasslands, which will rush.
So it's not being used, so they're not accessing that part of the property from any driveway?
That's correct. There's no access from any driveway here. As part of the plan, there is continued access to this piece of property through a gravel road that runs through here. So it's not completely cut off from the rest of the property, but it's not currently proposed for any development.
Okay. And then the entrance will be the Route 12 exit. They will not be using Route Road for this purpose?
Correct. This will be gated off for emergency.
Okay. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yeah, please.
It seems like a lot of equipment to be stored on a pad at the facility. What's the security plan for this layout? I mean, I'm concerned about the volume and the type of business you're doing. It sounds like very expensive pieces of equipment. It's kind of a quiet and nice area out in that neck of the woods. What are your plans?
We bring in security companies. Ace Security is the one we're using right now in Franklin. We bring them in 2 weeks before the auction, up to 2 weeks after the auction, when all the major stuff is there, when you get the people coming to look at stuff and stuff. Like I said, I've been running that facility for 30 years and we've never had any problems at all with theft or damage or anything like that.
Appreciate that. I think my question, maybe I should rephrase it. When you don't have an auction going on and there's not people actively on the property other than those running the facility, you don't have any fences or personnel that are monitoring or at least keeping tabs on this equipment that's sitting around?
We'll have fencing around the area.
Okay.
It'll all be fenced in. we'll have security cameras.
Okay.
We're there every day, except for weekends when it's not auction time.
Is the fence line described on that diagram or laid out so we can see it?
That is not currently depicted on the We will have that.
Just trying to understand what physical security, just,
Absolutely.
thank you, appreciate that.
No problem.
Thank you.
John, then June. Go ahead, you first.
What type of equipment in general is auctioned?
In general, it's construction, industrial, any kind of earth-moving equipment, road trucks, hauling trucks, dump trucks, forklifts, any of that kind of stuff. And then we also sell support equipment to go with it, buckets, attachments, anything that the construction industry uses.
Do you ever have any issues with, it seems that this is absolutely used equipment for the most part, do you have any issues with fluids leaking from the equipment?
No. Machine comes in and it's leaking, we'll fix it right there on the spot, or we send it back to their garage to have it fixed before it enters the property. If there is a blown hose, which happens, we have the cleanup kits and all that stuff that we take care of. And environmental services out of Windsor comes and takes the bad material away.
Yeah, I'm curious, you said you usually have no more than 5 people at a time.
I mean, typically on an auction day, not too many people show up because they're bidding on their phones or their computers.
Maybe it's obvious.
They've already previewed, they'd rather stay at their office and at work while the auction's going on, I guess is their reason.
Well, I'm just asking because you have so many gravel parking spaces.
Well, the preview time, you'll have
You'll have more people.
more people. Like Saturday, we had 60 people for preview at our auction.
And what are the preview hour window? So that's not
8 to 4.
60? Okay, so that's over the course of a full day, it's not like a 2-hour block?
No.
So that's spread out.
8 to 4, like we opened up Saturday, we're open up through the auction, which is Wednesday and Thursday of this auction. So we're open up Saturday morning, 8 o'clock, 8 to 4, every day until Wednesday, and then there's no more food.
Any other comments or questions on this application? We do have some outstanding issues, so I would ask the board if there are no other comments or questions for the applicant from staff or board members. I did ask the audience. I'll ask again. Anyone from the public have another comment or question on this application? All right. Hearing and seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing.
I have a motion by John and a second by June. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, public hearing is continued to our next regularly scheduled meeting in January. Moving on to item D, 23-20 SP of David Kettle requesting special permit for a 14-foot by 28-foot addition to an existing barn exceeding 900 square feet in size on property located at 206 Black Hill Road, Assessor's Map 7, Block 78, Lot 117, RA 60 zoning district. Do we have someone to speak for the applicant? Yep, come on up. Just give us a brief summary of what it is you're doing.
David Kettle, 206 Black Hill Road, putting an addition on my barn to warehouse my wood shop equipment.
And that's just recreational use?
Yep.
This is a public hearing. If anyone in the audience has a comment or question on this application, you can step right up to the microphone. Any comments or questions from board members? Additional comments from staff?
This is pretty simple. It's just an addition on the backside of the barn, requires a special permit.
Excuse me, gentlemen, we're in the middle of a hearing, so if you have a conversation you have to have, please take it out because these microphones pick up everything. So thank you. Go ahead, Ryan.
So it requires a special permit because it exceeds 900 square feet. The barn already exceeds 900 square feet. It's currently 2,637, and the addition will put it up to about 3,029.
All right, any other comments from the public on this application or board members? Okay, hearing and seeing none, I'll entertain a motion on the public hearing for this application.
make a motion to close the public hearing.
A motion by June to close,
Second.
a second by Bart. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Public hearing is closed. Item E, 23-12, TA of Lauren Grappi requesting an amendment to planning and zoning regulations to create section 7.28 Moosup Pond Protection Overlay. This application was withdrawn. Item F, 23-21 SP of Paul Archer requesting a special permit for an extension of earth excavation, processing, and removal operation at Snake Meadow Road, Assessor's Map 28, Block 122, lots 13 and 14, RA 60 zoning district. The applicant has asked that the public hearing not be opened this evening and that we open the public hearing in January. So no action is needed for that, am I correct, Ryan?
Just table.
So it's not open. So. All right, moving on to the regular meeting. So order, additions or corrections to the agenda. So we do have 2 items to add to the agenda under new business. Item B, 23-22 SP, and item C, 23-23 SP. So I'll entertain a motion to add those under new business.
So moved.
I have a motion by Bart. Second by John. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, added to the agenda, new business B and C. Citizen participation. This is your opportunity to address the board on an issue that was not a public hearing. So are there any comments, citizen participation? Yeah, I don't know.
Michael Smith, 62 Smith Road. Here, commenting on notification of the text amendment that was sent in, that was withdrawn. None of us on the pond got any notification that that was going to happen. I guess nobody gets notified for that, but there was some residents who were very upset. So I'm just letting that, I want to comment on that tonight. We'd like that notification if there's any further amendments, text amendments, whatever it is.
So Ryan, when it comes to a text amendment, the requirements of notification are not to property owners, it's to the public in general. Am I right about that?
Correct. As this was proposed as a floating zone, an overlay zone.
Correct.
So it's a 2-part application. The first part is approving text. The second part is approving a map amendment to land the zone. It's when you get to the map amendment that everybody will be notified. Anybody affected, anybody within 150 feet of the parcels that will be affected. That's when the notifications will go out. Typically, they're most of them at the same time. They don't have to be. And
Okay.
that's why nobody was notified, because the zone wasn't going to land. It was just adding text to the regulations.
So it's a 2-part process. So part 1 is the text amendment, which is public notification in general, because it doesn't relate to a specific property. Part 2 is the map amendment, where they would identify what properties they would want that text amendment to apply to. And that's when certified notices via U.S. Postal Service mail would go out to all the impacted properties as well as adjacent.
Everybody within 150 feet of any properties are rezoned.
Okay. And then when an application is withdrawn, there is no notification process outside the public hearing process.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so we just happened to hear that. I think something spotted it maybe on the website or whatever. We're all very surprised. There's 120 waterfront residents there. That somebody was just trying to change that. RA 30.
It's zoned RA30. It still would be zoned RA30. There'd just be an overlay of additional requirements on whatever parcels around the pond they wanted to apply it to.
But there was some specific language in there I thought that was put in there.
So we would have, if the commission decided to act on that, that would have had to be stricken, because you cannot automatically rezone parcels through a text amendment. You have to
That's
apply.
what the map amendment part of the process is for.
But you're right, in the text, it was designed in that the properties around the pond would automatically have the overlay zone applied. That would have had to have been removed, because you can't.
Okay, because it's been fine for 100 years.
And it's been withdrawn.
Okay. Just wanted to comment on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've been there
And it's
since
good to understand the process and the notification, so,
My family's been
No.
there since 1929, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from citizen participation?
Would like to refer to the Town of Plainfield Plan of Conservation Development that was done several years ago. I spoke up about the language in that document that referred to in the agricultural section about, I'm going to quote it roughly, it says that future gravel operations will be limited, try to limit future gravel operations on prime farmland. So what I'd just like to point out to the planning and zoning is that there's a lot of prime farmland still in Plainfield that has gravel under it. And this, the Root Farm is pretty much gone, but there is gravel underneath other farmland that's going to come up and probably come before this board in the future. So I would ask the board to refer to that document and try to take that into consideration when you're making your decisions about, granting gravel operations on future farmland. And if it does, that the reclamation regulations in the document, in your regulations, should be held up. They shouldn't be just washed away or neglected over time. If the plan at the time it's approved by the board says the land will be reclaimed as farmland, then it's up to the board here to make sure that that happens. And if there's 10 inches of topsoil on that land that's put up in a pile on the side, and that company comes in, takes the gravel off, that topsoil should go back on there and it should be able to be tilled as farmland, because that's what reclamation is about, right? So I'd like to thank you people to consider, I think, going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other citizen participation?
Can we get his name for the record?
Yeah.
State your name, please.
Nick Anderson.
Thank you. Any other citizen participation? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to unfinished old business. Item A, 23-10TA of Planning and Zoning Commission, removal of the 12-month moratorium from application 23-3ZC of Town of Plainfield Planning and Zoning Commission for a moratorium on cannabis covering all uses as stated in Public Act number 21-1, Senate Bill number 1201, an act concerning responsible and equitable regulation of adult cannabis. So since we have adopted the cannabis regulations, we have the ability to remove the moratorium rather than wait for the expiration date. Were there any points of discussion on this application? Okay, staff has suggested an effective date of January 1st. So if you're making a motion to remove the moratorium, if you could also include the effective date of January 1st.
I would move that we lift the moratorium in accordance with as documented at the effective date of January 1st, 2021.
All right, I have a motion by Bart, second by John. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, moratorium is removed effective January 1st. Item B, 23-11TA, temporary moratorium of section 12.32 earth excavation and removal applications, except for applications to renew existing legal earth excavation that was previously approved by special permit. Any items for discussion on this? So if we move to adopt this, staff also recommended an effective date of January 1st. So if making a motion, if you could include that effective date as well.
January 1st, and then how long?
It was proposed to be a 6-month moratorium to allow the commission time to review the regulations.
Okay.
That would be an expiration of June 1st.
Wouldn't it be June 30th? To be 6 months? Okay. So 6 months.
June 30th, I'll make that motion to start the moratorium January 1st.
All right.
6 months to June 30th, 2024.
Okay. So I have a motion to approve the moratorium effective January 1st for 6 months through June 30th of 2024.
Second.
I have a second by John. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, approved with an effective date of January 1st. Item 23-19 SP of Ritchie Brothers Auctioneers was continued. So I'll entertain a motion to continue that old business.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by June to continue.
Second.
Second by John. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Application is continued. Item D, 23-10 SPL of Samuel Lyman and Wes Craft requesting a site plan review for a contractor's business at 0 Unity Street, Assessors Map 15, Block 71, Lot 10, Industrial 1 zoning district. Do we have the applicant?
No, this application came in, we did not receive payment or plans with it. We tried contacting the applicant 3 times with no response. I recommend that we simply deny it. The applicant can always reapply if they have plans. Ready to go.
So that was incomplete application.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion by June to deny.
Second.
Second by Bart. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Application is denied. All right, item E, 23-20 SP of David Kettle requesting a special permit for a 14-foot by 28-foot addition to an existing barn exceeding 900 square feet in size on property located at 206 Black Hill Road, Assessors Map 7, Block 78, Lot 117, RA60 zoning district. Any items for discussion on this application?
Seems like a reasonable application. I'll move that motion.
I have a motion by John to approve. I have a second by June. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Application is approved. Item F, 23-11 SPL of Route 12 Bulk LLC requesting site plan review for a 40-foot by 80-foot commercial garage for vehicle storage on property located at 388 Norwich Road, Assessors Map 16, Lot 66, Lot 24, C1 zoning district. And just for clarification, Norm, is it 55 by 80 or 40 by 80?
55 was
Okay.
enlarged after the application
Oh,
was
okay.
submitted.
Thank you.
So I do have some plans that were revised slightly based upon staff comments. There are any real significant changes to the plans, but I can put it and share. For the record, Norm Tebow, Killingley Engineering Associates. I am here representing Route 12 Bulk this evening. I'm sure that the commission recalls I was just here either last month or the month before regarding construction of a propane distribution facility here. That is in the works. It was approved by this commission. It has not been constructed yet, but this garage here, the 80 by 55 foot, it'll be a stick-built garage, and all it really is going to be used for is to store the large bulk oil and bulk propane transport trucks that are used to bring bulk products to this facility. There are no floor drains within this facility at all. There'll be no maintenance or washing of vehicles within it. We are showing some pavement millings along the eastern side of it, and there's a water quality trench around the perimeter of the building that will aid in infiltrating the first 1 inch of runoff from the building and the parking area. We're showing a 6 foot high, we're calling either a 6 foot high vinyl stockade fence or chain link fence with privacy slats, and also 24 6 foot high green giant arborvitae arranged in a staggered position over here. There is going to be a remaining tree buffer on the western side, and we are using the arborvitae for screening to achieve that 25 feet of screening
from the adjacent residential properties. Like I said, these are trucks that are currently stored outside now. It's just going to be a more defined area for them to park. Rather simple as far as the site plan goes, and if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any additional comments from staff?
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Any comments or questions from board members? So the one note was approval with the condition that Mylars are to be recorded prior to receiving the zoning permit. So if there are no comments or questions from board members, I'll entertain a motion on this application.
I would move to approve on the condition that the Mylars are recorded prior to receiving the zoning permit by the applicant.
Okay, motion by Bart,
I'll second that.
second by June. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Application is approved. Item G, 23-12, TA of Lauren Groffey was withdrawn. Item H, 23-21, SP of Paul Archer was not open, so we just need to continue the old business. So I'll entertain a motion to continue that. Motion to continue by John.
Second.
Second by Bart. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Application is continued. Moving on to new business. Item 23-12, SPL of Bubbles Laundry Spa LLC, care of Douglas Tabor, for construction of a single-bay drive-through car wash with associated pavement and grading on property located at 22 Putnam Road, Assessor's Map 1CB, Block 85, Lot 24, C2 zoning district.
Thank you. For the record, once again, Norm Tebow, Killingley Engineering Associates. I'm here representing Bubbles Laundry Spa LLC this year. We were here a few months back and what we had permitted at that time was some additional parking in the back and an addition on the building. The addition is nearly complete, and it's just an expansion of the laundry business. Specifically, they have a lot of business of washing and folding clothing, and they just didn't have any room to do that. So they've added a few machines, they've added some more area where they can offer that service. And this paid parking back here was previously approved as well. So what we're proposing is this about 40 by 25 foot single bay car wash. They'll be entering and leaving from Route 12. There is an existing paved driveway that extends approximately to where the edge of this parking area is now. We're going to extend that driveway. The existing screened dumpster location is here. The dumpster is there. It's currently not screened. We are proposing screening as part of this. We also are showing a bypass lane around the back of the proposed car wash. Everything goes in a clockwise direction around the site, and we're using an existing access and an existing egress from the property that currently exists. What we are proposing, which is not at the egress point right now, is a 30-foot stop sign and a painted stop bar. The application has been submitted to the Connecticut DOT for their approval. We have not heard back from them yet. It's been probably close to a couple of months, but things are a little slow on the end of the DOT. Anticipate there being any issues in that these are existing access and egress points on the property. We're not proposing anything new that's not there. But because it is a change of use, we are required to submit to the Connecticut DOT just to get their blessing on it. Any questions? I'd be happy to answer them.
Sure.
Yes.
Are you guys planning any signage on your property with respect to the entry and egress? I mean, this is a single direction. People are turning in the exit. I can see problems in traffic flow issues. I'm just curious.
On honestly, I don't. We have, we do have the car wash sign over here showing the double-sided car wash sign on the northern part of the site. And we have painted traffic arrows showing the travel path through the site.
What's the site distance to the south?
To the south, honestly, I don't have that number. It is, it's probably somewhere between 250 to 300 feet over there. But I don't know, I don't have the exact.
Any other comments from board members? Was there any additional comments from staff?
No, I do have a couple of recommendations for conditions of approval. One will be Mylars that be recorded prior to receiving the zoning permit. And as we don't have DOT approval yet, that DOT approval is obtained and submitted to the planning and zoning office before getting the zoning permit.
So Ryan, to clarify, the issuance of the permit would be contingent on receiving the DOT plan?
So if you would be approving it, DOT would have to approve the sight lines and the entrances prior to receiving a zoning permit. So site plan's good, zoning permit will be held up.
Yeah, and as I said, these are existing entrances to the site. We're not proposing anything that's not there currently.
This went through inland wetlands.
Yes, yeah, we did receive approval from the Wetlands Commission.
No problem with the floodplain.
No, it's, well, the floodplain is your jurisdiction, not the Wetlands Commission.
Any other comments or questions from board members? Okay, so there are two recommended conditions. Mylars are to be recorded prior to receiving a zoning permit, and then the DOT approval needs to be submitted prior to the zoning permit. So when making a motion, if you wanted to include those conditions, you can just say as read. So do I have a motion on this application?
I would move to approve based on the two conditions as read by the zoning officer.
Okay. I have a motion to approve by Bart and a second by Frank with those conditions as read. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, application is approved with those conditions. You're welcome. Moving on to item B, 23-22SP of Strategic Commercial Realty, Inc., care of David Held, requesting a special permit to modify the existing earth excavation permit to construct an internal haul road at 0 Jackson Road. This requires a public hearing. So I'll entertain a motion to schedule that.
Make a motion to
Schedule a public hearing.
schedule.
Yep, and our regular meeting in January.
January.
Okay, so I have a motion by June to schedule that public hearing at our regular meeting in January.
So that would be January.
I have a second by John. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, public hearing is scheduled. Item C, 23-23SP of Kimberly Broder, requesting a special permit for a 1,000 square foot accessory dwelling unit at 2 Pond Street, Assessor's Map 1M, Block 97, Lot 97, RA 30 zoning district. This also requires a public hearing.
Make a motion that we schedule this public hearing.
Okay, I have a motion by John to schedule a January meeting.
Second.
I have a second by Bart. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, public hearing is scheduled for the meeting in January. All right, reviewing and acting on the minutes from November 14th. I just had one item. Catherine Nestamaker Harris was marked as absent, but her term had not started yet, so I would just like that stricken. Her term ended on election day, so she was not eligible to serve until the 21st. So if we could just strike that. Other than that, are there any other items for correction on the minutes? Okay, I'll entertain a motion. I I have a motion to approve by June. Do you accept my modification?
With the modification.
Okay, thank you. And do I have a second? I have a second by John. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Minutes are approved with that one modification. Moving on to correspondence.
We have no correspondence.
No correspondence. A report from zoning enforcement.
Unfortunately, we do not have that tonight.
Okay, please make sure we have updates for our next meeting. Report from planning and development.
Nothing new from last month.
Okay, nothing new. Moving on to item 10, other, we have our election of officers. So our current officers are myself, Carla Stardings as chairman, vice chairman John Meyer, and secretary June Gagney. So I would open the floor for nominations for officers.
I'll nominate Carla Deschardins. Chair.
Did you want to do a full slate or?
I'm not sure. I would be willing to be vice chair, but I don't know if I need the nomination. So I would propose a slate of Carla.
Okay, so the floor is open for nominations. I would add John Meyer as vice chairman. He has filled in gracefully for me on the instances when I have been absent, so I would add John Meyer for vice chairman. I would keep June as the next senior member of the, as secretary, so I entered John Meyer into nomination as vice chairman and June Gagney as secretary.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Okay.
Motion to close nominations.
I have a motion by Bart to close nominations. I have a second by June to close nominations. All in favor of closing nominations? Aye. Any opposed? All right. So moving forward, the nominated slate of Carla Deschardins chairman, vice chairman John Meyer, secretary June Gagney. I would entertain a motion to approve that slate.
So moved as read.
I have the motion by Bart, and the second by Frank. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that slate is approved. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. Seeing no other business on the agenda, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A motion by Bart to adjourn.
Second.
Second by June. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Meeting is